Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to the 5th race of Season 7 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I'm Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Golden Corral 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. However, this is a different Atlanta than what we have ran in the past. We are actually going to the old configuration of Atlanta Motor Speedway prior to 1998, the 1997 on back configuration, where it's a little bit shorter, but just as fun. Now, as I give you the point standings on your screen, a recap of the points after Pensacola this past week, Zachary Fitzwater leads by 17 points over the winner from Pensacola, Jay Jefferson, and now here is your starting lineup for the race. With Cody Lamas on the pole for tonight. I'm not sure if that's his first or second pole of the season, but regardless, Cody Lamas, if he elects to return in Season 8, he will be in the Bud Shootout. But with that being said, let's get the command to fire engines for the Golden Corral 500 at Atlanta.
Drivers, start your engines!
All 40 drivers are now on the racetrack for their one pace lap around here. Now, the interesting thing about this Atlanta compared to the Atlanta of the past is that there is no dogleg front stretch tri-oval front straightaway. Both straightaways are the same. The banking's a little bit steeper, I would say, just a tad bit steeper than the other version of Atlanta that we've used in the past. Now, one thing I noticed, with how this racing's going to go, it may seem like this is essentially a restrictor play race. However, there is off-throttle time. There is a 20 miles per hour difference in throttle between the straightaways and the turns. Like, they will go upwards of 200, maybe a little over 200 miles an hour, but slow down to in between 175 and 180 miles per hour in the corners. Pace car is pulled into pit road. Ladies and gentlemen, boogity, 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 let's go racing. Cody Lamas did not lead the first lap of the race. In fact, it was James Qualls who led the first lap, which is a bonus point for him. And he's got a challenger, as here comes Chris Dollarton with a run to the inside to battle for the race lead. Right behind Dollarton is the guy who nearly won at Pensacola last week, Joshua Sekuli, who got outbeat by a last lap pass from Jay Jefferson in what might go down as the best finish of the season right now. And speaking of Sekuli, he is now taken over the top spot on the racetrack. Like I said, with how these guys are racing in like two different lines in a draft kind of idea, it does give out the impression that this is a restrictor play race, but there is off-throttle time. As I watched, Joshua Sekuli went down from about 202 miles per hour going into turn 1 here, down to 180 miles an hour in the center of 1 and 2. As things are starting to spread out a little bit up here at the front, as Sekuli starts to slightly pull away from the field, Carson Gum has now moved his way up into second and is starting to reel in the race leader. And now he's about to try and dive to the inside of turn 1, and he's there. Carson Gum with a run to the inside to take the race lead away from Joshua Sekuli, but he doesn't have him cleared yet, as the outside line does get more speed on the corner exit of turn 2. Turn 4, on the other hand, let's see what Sekuli has. He's still there, so Carson, while he led that lap, he doesn't have the 00 cleared yet, although he might now have him cleared here since nobody was behind the 00 when this happened. So now Carson Gum clears Joshua Sekuli to take the lead in the Golden Corral 500. Sekuli falls back to second. Meanwhile, Chris Dollarton right behind the 00. Now Dollarton desperately is looking for some good runs going forward. He's dead last in the championship standings currently. Right now having a great run, going in third here at the start of the race. Whoa, and I saw Jesse Turner back there kind of get a little bit squirrely off of turn 2. Meanwhile, simultaneous passes going on for position. Joshua Sekuli trying to take the lead back from Carson Gum, and in fact, does beat him to the line to get the spot, and now will probably clear him. Meanwhile, there's one driver you're going to have to keep an eye out for who's starting to gradually move up the field. Cole Deaver in the number 8 car, who's currently in the 7th position. This is his home track. He is a native of Georgia, and he's looking for his first win of the season. He actually came damn near close to winning at Atlanta last season, but got outbeat by rookie from last season, Bradley Zordrager, if my memory serves me right. And I think I just saw the caution lights come on. So I think we're under caution, and Carson Gum barely beats Sekuli to the line. Caution is out. Oh, there's huge smoke in turns 1 and 2. Rafael Fireblade with tons of engine smoke. Cole Baker was involved in whatever this was as well. So yeah, it looks like an accident that happened in turns 1 and 2 between Baker and Fireblade, so they are definitely done for today. Some cars are coming in the pit road while the front runners, or maybe they're trying to get into their spots, I'm not sure, but Forbes and Llamas, it looks like for sure they are coming in the pit road. Carson Gum and the rest of the top 5 have elected to stay out. Interesting pit strategy, so we'll see what happens on the restart, but before we get to that, let's take a look at a replay of what brought the caution out for the first time today here at Atlanta. Well, here's a look at what happened. So this was towards the back of the field. It's 3 wide between Michael Norman, Cole Baker, and Rafael Fireblade, and right here, Michael Norman, it looks like he gets back into the throttle a little bit too quickly, and just comes up into Cole Baker, who in turn gets up into Rafael Fireblade, and they both hit the outside concrete wall a ton. That was a hard crash for both the 18 and the 52, to the point where both cars have engine smoke erupting. The 52 kept it going until he got to pit road, but Baker, on the other hand, I think he just ends up stopping eventually. But yeah, they both took pretty hard impacts into the outside wall as a result of this. Let's go back and take a look at it one more time to make sure of everything. So Michael Norman has a huge run coming on the bottom, and it looks like right there he gets back into the throttle a little bit too soon and gets tight in the center of the corner, and then just comes up in front of Cole Baker, and then Baker has nowhere to go but up in the Rafael Fireblade, and then they both slam the outside concrete wall so hard. Both cars went up into the air for a moment, so that's just how hard of a hit they both took. Both cars are essentially going to be done for today, as you see the engine smoke erupting from both cars. And let me go back and take a look at the miles per hour they were going. Stop motion and About 181 miles an hour, both cars go into that concrete wall. Yeah, this version of Atlanta has no safer barriers, so that was a pretty violent crash caused by a miscommunication among drivers running three wide. So, with that being said, let's take you to the restart here at Atlanta. Just as I expected, the two cars that are out of the race after that caution are Rafael Fireblade and Cole Baker. So those two will not get points as a result of finishing in the bottom five. However, excuse me, under that caution, we had some pit strategies. Some cars came in the pit road, others stayed out. Carson Gum was one of those that stayed out. He is the race leader. Second is Joshua Sekuli. Third is Jessica Sheldon. Fourth, Chris Dollarton. Fifth is James Quall. Sixth is Cole Deaver. Seventh is Benjamin Miles. Eighth, Jay Jefferson. Ninth, Jake Rogers. 10th, Rob Evans. 11th is Henry Sanford. 12th is Clint Spillman. 13th, Alyssa Drayson. 14th, Jonathan Zorlane. 15th, Dylan Jacobs. 16th, James Shelley. 17th, Seth Cole. 18th, Hannah Klein. 19th, Rafael LeDuc. 30th, Joey Parkhill. 31st, Artur Castanha. 22nd is Caleb Kilburn. 23rd, Michael Norman. 24th, Matt McIntyre. 25th, Melissa Alexander. 26th is Ricky Carman. 27th, Julia Katrine. 28th, Jordan Forbes. 29th, Cody Lamas. 30th, Jesse Turner, followed by Johnny Gardner, DJ Curtis, Kyle Matthews, Zachary Fitzwater, Ryan Acosta, Dylan Young, Zach Rogers, and Charles Sanford. Green flag is back out, and Carson Gum got one hell of a jump on that restart and pulled out to about a 4 to 5 car length lead, maybe now less, over Joshua Sekuli. But everyone behind Carson's starting to reel back in that 19 car. So despite a caution coming out, we've seen some good racing up here at the front of the field here at Atlanta. Meanwhile, I see side-by-side battling for the 6th position between Jay Jefferson and Benjamin Miles. Both who finished top 5 last week at Pensacola, trying to outdo each other here at Atlanta. Meanwhile, Jake Rogers, who has finished, I believe Jake Rogers has finished in the bottom 5 3 times already this season. Daytona, I believe North Wilkesboro, and Pensacola, I think. So he's definitely another driver in desperation to get a good finish, to get himself higher up in the point standings. Back up here at the front, Carson Gum still leading the way, but Joshua Sekuli's trailing not too far behind, closing in pretty quickly on the back bumper of the 19, as the laps are starting to wind down a little bit here at the closing in on the halfway point of the race. Jessica Sheldon right now kind of just hanging out in the 3rd position, just quietly watching the top 2 try and race it out, but she has Chris Dollarton right on her back bumper, so she's also trying to pay attention to the cars behind her. Meanwhile, I see a new mover getting up through the field. Rob Evans up to the 6th position. Rob Evans, last week, I believe, finished in the bottom 5 and fell from 2nd to 7th in the championship standings, as, like I said, Rob Evans is trying to make history and be the first person in the history of the Marvel Studios Cup Series to win 2 straight championships. Right now, despite finishing bottom 5 last week, he's had a pretty solid start to the season, as things are kind of settling down a little bit towards the front, although as tires begin to wear down for some of these front runners who have yet to come to pit road today, they are starting to go a little bit slower. As I'm watching Carson Gum, he enters turn 1 at 199 miles an hour and lets off at about 172, so yeah, there is a lot of off-throttle time going on throughout the field. And I think James Qualls, I don't know if he came in the pit road or not. I know Jordan Forbes is, and he's on fresher tires than the people up ahead. So Jordan Forbes actually been moving up through the field pretty well since the restart. Although he's not able to make a pass as they're all kind of low-lining a little bit from Cole Deaver on back. Back up at the front, Joshua Sekuli is literally right on the back bumper of Carson Gum, trying to think about what he's going to have to do to make a pass on the 19 for the race lead, and he's try to go up high to get a little bit of air to the front grill of the car to make sure it doesn't overheat. As we are right around the halfway point of the race now, Carson Gum has led the most laps so far today, but Joshua Sekuli is right on him, thinking about what he's going to have to do to make the pass to get the lead back. And just as I say that, he dives down low. He's going to have the momentum going into turn 1, and he's going to make the pass. Great move by Joshua Sekuli to get the lead back. Meanwhile, we got a battle going on for the third position. Jessica Sheldon has it. Jay Jefferson wants it. Jefferson's actually trying to go 2 in a row here in Season 7, trying to get 2 straight wins. He won at Pensacola in a last lap pass. Trying to go for his second straight, and right behind him, Rob Evans, who's been still just working his way up through the field, just little by little. Even though, like I said, even though there is off-throttle time, there is still a bit of a draft effect that could happen in this race that could really change momentum for drivers. Back up at the front, Joshua Sekuli continues to lead the way with Carson Gum right behind, and wow, Sekuli slowed down big time, down to 170 in the center of the corner, giving room for Carson Gum to really close in on the 00 to try and get the lead back for himself. I don't know if the tires are really starting to wear for Joshua Sekuli or what. And Carson Gum is right on trying to get to the back bumper of the 00. Behind them, however, about a second behind, almost a second behind, Jay Jefferson up to third. Look at Henry Sanford, who's currently the highest running rookie on the racetrack, trying to maneuver his way through the field to try and get up to a higher position, as meanwhile Carson Gum, I think the caution's out again. Oh, we got 2 cars damaged. Matt McIntyre, Melissa Alexander. Joey Parkhill's by himself. You gotta wonder if we had a similar situation to what happened earlier with Cole Baker and Raphael Fireblade. But it looks like this happened in turns 3 and 4, and there are a ton of skid marks. Carson Gum wasn't officially the leader at the line, but he's coming out, he's pulling out in front of Sekuli to get on the pit road. Not sure if NNSCRA officials are going to like that. Jesse Turner, he's going to stay out. There's actually a few cars that are staying out another lap. I don't know if that's smart or not, but Jesse Turner will now be the race leader when we get back to green flag racing, or he might come in to pit road next time by. But while we wait for all this to sort out, let's take you to the replay of what brought the caution out for the second time tonight, or today, here at Atlanta. Just as I thought, we had a similar wreck to what we had before, 3 wide going wrong. But in this case, Caleb Kilburn doesn't cause this wreck, even though he doesn't really give the 28 and the 14 a whole lot of room to maneuver. And because of that, Melissa Alexander just leans on the 14 of Matt McIntyre, and they both go spinning into the outside wall, although no real big-time damage for either car. The 14 doesn't really have much as far as cosmetic damage, and Melissa Alexander did get some right side and rear end damage, but as far as I know, they were still continuing after the fact. So kind of a sigh of relief as far as they go, because I would have assumed they probably would have hit the wall hard, just like Baker and Fireblade did in the first caution. But looks like they will be able to continue for the rest of the race, but I feel like they may be off the pace. But let's go ahead and take you to the restart here at Atlanta. Well, no cars retired out of the race after that second caution, and when we get across the line, it'll be 15 laps to go, so we still got some time to see who could really come out on top. However, new leader Jesse Turner, as he elected to stay out under caution. Second is the points leader, Zachary Fitzwater. Third is Kyle Matthews. Fourth, Zach Rogers. Fifth is Joshua Sekuli. Sixth is Cody Lamas. Seventh, Johnny Gardner. 8th, Charles Sanford. 9th, Henry Sanford. 10th, Dylan Young. 11th is Jordan Forbes. 12th is Carson Gum. 13th is Ryan Acosta. 14th, Chris Dollarton. 15th, Jessica Shelton. 16th, Jay Jefferson. 17th, Benjamin Miles. 18th, DJ Curtis. 19th, Rob Evans. 20th, Alyssa Drayson. 21st, Jake Rogers. 22nd, Cole Deaver. 23rd, Rafael Leduc. 24th, Clint Spillman. 25th is Hannah Klein. 26th is Jonathan Zorline. 27th is Seth Cole. 28th, Joey Parkhill. 29th, James Shelley. 30th, Julia Katrine. 31st, Dylan Jacobs. 32nd, Ricky Carmen. 33rd, Michael Norman. 34th, Caleb Kilburn. Then the rest of the field, Artur Castanha, Melissa Alexander, Matt McIntyre, and James Qualls, as we are back underway here at Atlanta. Joshua Sekuli, looked like he was the first one out of pit road, out of everyone else, and Carson Gum. I think he might have had to stay on pit road for a little bit because he came into the pits illegally in front of Joshua Sekuli, and so he had to probably sit in the pit road for a few more seconds. But anyways, I'm going to be curious to see the top four of Turner, Fitzwater, Matthews, but the caution is out again. Oh, we had a multi-car wreck. James Qualls, Joey Parkhill, and Michael Norman, and Norman just about hit the 38. Caution comes out. Oh, and we got a secondary wreck as Ryan Acosta gets turned. Jay Jefferson into the wall. Looks like it was a miscommunication between drivers, and they're still running into each other. Looked like a miscommunication right here between drivers trying to slow down, and Michael Norman just runs into the back of James Qualls, and Parkhill running into Norman. I don't know if it was because he couldn't slow down in time or he's upset with the 3. Maybe the 3 caused a wreck or something. I don't know, but nobody comes in the pit road this time, so let's take a look and see what brought the caution out for the 3rd time today here at Atlanta. Well, we might have a rivalry on our hands. Watch the 99 of Caleb Kilburn. He goes into turn 3 here. Although Michael Norman, it looks like he gets a little bit loose as he got off the side of Artur Castanha's car, but right there, Caleb Kilburn just comes up into Michael Norman, turns him sideways, and then Norman comes down into Kilburn, into Qualls, and Matt McIntyre, and they go for some spins, and then right here, looks like when Matt McIntyre and James Qualls were sliding on the apron, they collect Joey Parkhill, and I don't know why Parkhill was all the way down on the apron like that. But then that causes the 38 to spin up the racetrack. I don't know, let me see why the 38 was on the apron. I don't know if he just... something went wrong with his car, because I'm looking at his speeds and he is slowing down 100 miles an hour, although it doesn't seem like he runs out of gas. Maybe he saw or heard of the commotion, just slowed down to get onto the apron, but I think he slowed down too much to the point where he ends up getting collected in this whole ordeal. But yeah, big multi-car wreck, about a good 5, maybe 6 cars involved in this incident, and some tempers flaring here at Atlanta. So let's go ahead and take you to the restart once again for the Golden Corral 500. Well, no cars retired out of the race after that caution came out, so resetting the field. It'll be 10 laps to go when we cross the line. Hopefully we can finish this race under green, but top 20 rundown. Jesse Turner still the race leader, second Zachary Fitzwater, third Kyle Matthews, fourth Zach Rogers, fifth Joshua Sekuli, sixth is Cody Lamas, seventh is Henry Sanford, eighth Dylan Young, ninth Johnny Gardner, 10th Charles Sanford. 11th is Carson Gum, 12th is Jordan Forbes, 13th Chris Dollarton, 14th Jessica Sheldon, but with a buckle on her front end, so she may not be up to speed now. 15th Ryan Acosta, 16th Jay Jefferson, who's got a slight buckle. 17th is Benjamin Miles, 18th Rob Evans, 19th Jake Rogers, 20th is Cole Deaver. As we're getting ready to come off of turn 4, and it's going to be 10 laps to go here at Atlanta. Jesse Turner, Zachary Fitzwater, Kyle Matthews, and Zach Rogers have yet to come to pit road since the first caution. So I'm curious if they have enough gas to make it the rest of the way, if this was pit strategy on their parts or what. And luckily, because we've had 2 cautions, that I think has helped them to save enough gas to perhaps come close, but I'm just not entirely sure. And I thought we were under caution again, but no, we're still clean and green. Jesse Turner still holding on to the lead for now, but here comes the points leader, Zachary Fitzwater, to make a move to the inside. Remember, Fitzwater dominated and won at North Wilkesboro a couple of weeks ago, and he's trying to go for his second win of the season. Although I see 3 wide back here, or maybe not. Yeah, they are 3 wide. Whoa, Rob Evans gets really, really tight and then loose in the center of the corner, and they keep it together. I don't know, it seems like when they go 3 wide, it's all depending on who will give room and who will not. Ryan Acosta is just getting shafted all around by everyone right now as he is slipping way back in the field. Although LeDuc and Drayson weren't really giving each other plenty of room, now they are, now that Acosta has fallen back in line. Back up here at the front, we got a new leader. Kyle Matthews led at the line, but here comes Joshua Sekuli to try and get back to the front. And wow, Matthews really slowed down in the corner right there. I feel like those 4 of Matthews, Fitzwater, Turner, and Zach Rogers are starting to lose it a little bit because they are on much older tires than the rest of the field are. And as a result, they're actually starting to somewhat hold up some drivers up here. Meanwhile, we may have a battle ensue for the lead between Sekuli and Henry Sanford. Next time by, it'll be 5 laps to go here at Atlanta, and Henry didn't quite get a good enough run in the center of the corner to keep up with the 0-0. Meanwhile, Dylan Young now up to 3rd. Kyle Matthews still hanging on up here in 4th. Perhaps he still has something left in the tank to get to the lead, but he's going to have to really push it. As Sekuli trying to survive, although he really slowed down right there, down to about 171 in the center. As it's becoming a bit of a cluster from 3rd on back. The top 2 are still relatively close. But we're coming to 4 laps to go here at Atlanta, and Joshua Sekuli trying to look for redemption after he came so close to winning at Pensacola last week and just got outbeat by a 2-car tandem at the line. And he's trying to redeem himself and get his first win of the season here at Atlanta. But right behind is a charging young stud in Henry Sanford, who's right now the highest running rookie, and he's closed in quick on the back bumper. 3 laps to go, and here comes Sanford with a run to the inside. Henry Sanford is going to make the pass on Joshua Sekuli, so unless Sekuli has something left in the tank for himself, looks like he'll come up short again. But look who else has entered the fray, although pit stops. Looks like those four I brought up, Matthews, Turner, Fitzwater, and Zach Rogers, could not make it. 2 laps to go here at Atlanta. Henry Sanford hanging on to the lead, although Sekuli looked like he got a little bit of a run in the center. He came through in the center of the corner a whole lot better than Henry did. Perhaps Sekuli still has something left to try and get the win back. Or not the win back, the lead back. Although it looks like Henry kind of outbeat Sekuli in the exit of turn 4 as the white flag is out. Henry Sanford hanging on up here. Sekuli trying to run him down, but Jake Rogers also says, hey, I want to play too. Sekuli's going to have one last shot going into turn 3. And he doesn't quite make it. He's trying to get to the back bumper, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And Henry got a better run off of the exit. Checkered flag waving. Henry Sanford gets his first career win and gets it in the Golden Corral 500 at Atlanta. What a job, Henry Sanford. He had gradually worked his way up through the field and managed to somehow, some way get up there and take the lead and pull off the W. Great job by the 09 team, and that's S3 Motorsports' second win of the season. Remember, Henry's brother Charles won the Daytona 500 at the start of the year. Henry gets a win for himself, so the only one to go to victory lane so far is Jessica Shelton for S3 Motorsports, but we still got plenty of time here in the season to see what can happen. But let's take a look at the rest of the results. Joshua Sekuli is the bridesmaid yet again as he gets his second straight second place finish. He's definitely going to be hungry to get a win going into the next race at Ontario. But anyways, Jake Rogers, much needed good run in the third position. Carson Gum, who was one of the dominant cars of the race, gets a fourth place finish. And then the Georgia native Cole Deaver gets a great run in fifth. Dylan Young with a solid performance in the sixth position. Chris Dollarton, who also needed points, gets a seventh place run. Rafael LeDuc with a great run in eighth. Jessica Sheldon with a solid finish of ninth. And then rounding out the top 10 was Benjamin Miles. Then there's the rest of your top 20, your top 30, and the rest of the field. And the bottom 5 for this week were Jesse Turner, Kyle Matthews, Zachary Fitzwater, so he's definitely going to lose the points lead, Rafael Fireblade, and Cole Baker. Now, as you see Henry Sanford's victory burnout to celebrate his win here today at Atlanta, his first career win, might I add. Here are your final results, rookie points, regular points, and awards for the race going into a new track we're going to next week, and that's Ontario, which will be a very interesting race to say the least. But until then, this is Levi McIntyre, signing off.